All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and get started. We have a number of people on the wall today, and so we're going to go ahead and please remember, presenters, whenever you're presenting your bill, make sure that you indicate whereabouts on the page it is. If it's midway down on the second page, the last one on the last page, whatever it might be, just make sure that you indicate where it is so we can make the appropriate note. Chairman Petrie.
Bill 1078, it is the first bill mentioned on the second page under modified structured rule. This is a Department of Community Health bill that establishes a PACE program in Georgia. PACE is an acronym for Program of All-Inclusive Care for the Elderly. So this is yet again a new way for the department to serve individuals who are meeting a nursing home level of care in our communities. They have Medicare and Medicaid, so they're duly eligible. And the goal here, just like with a lot of our Medicaid waivers, is to find a way for them to be served in the community outside of institutions, which of course is better for quality of life and cheaper for taxpayers. This is a program that the department would like to implement here in Georgia, and that's what this bill does. It basically allows them to implement this program. Glad to stand for any questions.
Okay, thank you. Members of the committee. Yes, Representative. You have a question? Do you have a question? Okay, yep.
I'd like to ask you, folks in there that are under the age of 65, so they're Medicare qualified because of being disabled, and then Medicaid, so you do have those folks?
Yes, Chairman. So they're going to already be on Medicaid. This is a voluntary program, by the way, but they have to be over 55, but they are going to be on Medicaid and disabled, either frail, elderly, disabled. They will be in that age blind and disabled category.
So those folks could actually have dialysis then?
Let's say again, Chairman.
They could actually have dialysis, go through dialysis.
Yes, sir.
They got Medicare and Medicaid. Because
yes, sir, they do. And so, great question. I was trying to be brief, but I'll tell you this. So this is a capitated program that will be provided in certain areas of the state, 3 to begin with. And so the provider will take risk for all services, medically and community-based services that are required through Medicaid or Medicare for those individuals.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Great.
Thank you for the good question, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, all right, one more question, Representative Hughley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A little bit. I wanted to know if this was going to be statewide or where we were starting with this. And I think you said 3 areas.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Representative Hughley. So initially, there are 3 providers very interested in this that have been actively advocating with and working with the department. They will be in Chatham County. Bibb County will be the second, and the third will be in Fulton and DeKalb. So initially there'll be 3 sites. Obviously you have to have a population of those that are duly eligible in a county that will sustain a program. And so they're going to begin there, and the goal for the department would be gradually, as the need is there, to expand to other regions of the state. Thank you, Representative.
Okay. Any further questions? Seeing none, thank you, Representative.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair Lady.
Representative?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have House Bill 927. It's at the very top of page 2. Currently, under certain circumstances, a hunter has to wear 500 square inches of fluorescent orange. This bill does nothing but add fluorescent pink as an option.
Okay, members of the committee, any questions? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman Smith.
Morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. This morning I bring to you House Bill 549. That's about the 5th one down on the front page there. And this is a pretty straightforward bill that establishes the Georgia Music Office and a music commission that will work within economic development. While we currently have a film, music, and digital entertainment office, it primarily focuses on the film industry and doesn't focus as much attention on our musical talent that resides here in the state. And so this would focus on providing statewide support, promotion, and cultivation of Georgia's growing music industry. Their mission would be to create opportunity and connect businesses to serve as a clearinghouse for the Georgia music industry, for information and liaison between different agencies to make sure that our musical talent, as well as those that produce our music, would have the resources that they need. It would also create the Georgia Music Advisory Council, consisting of 8 members, 1 chairperson appointed by the governor, and the mission would also include raising awareness of our rich and thriving music industry here in Georgia, which was on prominent display during the Super Bowl this past Sunday. Of course, this is subject to appropriations, and I would note that our estimates have that suggested cost at around $500,000 or less.
Okay, all right. Members of the committee, seeing no questions, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Representative?
Good morning, Madam Chair. I bring to you on page 3 at the top, HB 1150. This is just basically a cleanup piece of legislation. Currently, the Attorney General's office has a list of fingerprintable offenses that if someone is charged with violating a crime, they have to be fingerprinted upon being charged for that. This simply removes the window tint violation from the fingerprintable offenses list. The AG's office didn't want to remove that without some legislation. It was put on that list back in the 80s, and for whatever reason, it's just been overlooked for decades. Not very many jurisdictions, if any at all, actually fingerprint someone for violating that window tint section. So that's a very simple bill.
Okay, all right. Representative Williams.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady. To the gentleman,
Yes, sir.
this does not relate to installers, does it?
No, sir. No, sir. This is just
Okay.
those who are violating.
Oh, I'm looking for one that absconded on me. Thank you.
Yes, sir. If you want to drop that bill, we'd be glad to hear it in my committee.
Okay, all right. Seeing nothing further, thank you, Representative. Appreciate it. Representative Gullett, you're up.
Thank you, members of the committee. Have a House Bill 575, LC 365749S. What this bill does is establishes a process for individuals or entities to petition, well, actually it's individuals, but to petition occupational boards to review specific regulations. The review criteria include assessing the applicability and necessity of the regulation, its fulfillment of legitimate objectives, and whether it's the least restrictive means to ensure public safety and well-being. And if a petition is submitted, the licensing board that issued the regulation must respond within 45 days, either denying the petition with reasons or initiating rulemaking proceedings. That's what the bill does. I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, you do have a couple. Minority Whip.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To the gentleman, are there any concerns that this may unduly burden our occupational licensing boards, that may potentially delay the licensure process, that could harm small businesses if they receive like a flood of these requests that they have to respond to within 45 days?
So we actually amended it to do 45 days from 30 days, and will it burden them? I don't know, but what I do believe is that there's already an extensive period of time for people to get these approvals. And some of those times, maybe that would be less extensive if the rules and regulations were least restrictive in the process. So there might be a little pain up front, hopefully, to relieve some pain on the back end.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. Representative Hughley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To the author of the bill, is the intent of this to create a process to eliminate outdated requirements or something?
Exactly.
Is that what you're trying to do?
That's right. And as well as when you are regulated by these commissions, to understand why a rule is there. Sometimes there are people who are asking, why is this rule there? Whether, like, say there's a rule out there that you must have a landline, and they continuously say, why do I need a landline? We don't have landlines, it's difficult to get whatever. You can't get a response. So not only getting rid of outdated ones, but also understanding why they're there, because a lot of times there are good reasons. I don't foresee a lot of changes in the rules and regs, but at least people need to understand why those apply to their profession.
Okay, all right. Chairman Cooper.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative, I know that you had good intent with this bill, but I believe that it opens up all the occupations that were covered in Title 43. And so that would be like the medical board, the dental board, anything like that.
Right.
And for example, the dental board has spent hours trying to decide and make a rule about sedation when they put people to sleep under dental things. And if they come to, what's my understanding of this, if they come to an agreement on that and put that rule into effect, that anybody could say, I don't like that rule, they could challenge it, and if they don't like the answer they get back, then they could go to court, and if they lost their legal fees. I mean, I see this opening up for anybody that doesn't like any bill about anything, tying up courts and really causing great problems. I would like for it to be narrowed more.
I understand that concern. So this bill is a year old. No one came to subcommittee to talk about their issues. But I will say that this is not the first I've heard of that, but what I'll say is that the only people that can request information are the people who would be dentists. So in the dental world, if there's a dental licensing, you have to be in that profession or regulated by that entity in order to do that. So if there are multiple doctors within the doctor world, then other doctors could do that. But if I'm regulated by the engineering or the architecture review board, then I have to be an architect under them to be able to question these rules and regs.
Well, Representative, I understand that, but I will tell you, like the nursing board, which covers a great number of thousands of nurses and LPNs, and has some real problems with addiction and so forth, lots of people, multiple people don't like the decisions they make. And it would really, I think, clog down the boards.
Thank you for that. Again, this bill's been out there a year, and no one has come to me from the nursing board about that.
Representative, sometimes things don't move, and people look at bills as they begin to move, so this is not an unusual situation.
Okay, all right. Representative Martin, Chairman Martin.
Gentleman, for a question. On lines 52 through 60, and in respect to Madam Chair's question, there's a preponderance of the evidence, but it specifically on line 54 says that the regulation that's being challenged affects barrier to entry. It doesn't necessarily, you're not talking about regulations that affect the practice they're in, right? You're just, I just feel like the scope is more narrow than
It is.
might look at if we look at those lines in 52 through 60, that the gentleman is not true. I think what you're looking at here is rules and regulations that keep people from going to work, not how they work when they're there.
That is the intention of the bill, yes, is to get people into the marketplace. And it is pretty narrowly, legitimate, objective, fiduciary, public health, safety, welfare, financial, tax, and accounting purposes. You have to prove that it's a problem for those. Thank you for the question.
Okay, seeing no further questions, thank you.
Thank you.
Representative?
Thank you to the chair. Thank you to the committee. Today I bring to you House Bill 1054. House Bill 1054, the traffic signature bill. It's an officer safety bill that allows for law enforcement officers to write refuse to sign on traffic tickets of motorists who disagree with their traffic ticket they're receiving and send them on their way. It's a simple bill. This bill reduces negative physical altercations between officers and citizens and allows for parties to go home safely at the end of the night. This bill saves taxpayer dollars by having an option for officers to write refuse to sign, send people on their way, instead of having to take citizens to jail for low-level traffic offenses. This bill is supported by the Georgia Sheriff's Association, Georgia Chiefs of Police, GMA, ACCG, Department of Driver Services, Department of Public Safety, and the City of Chattahoochee Hills. The Department of Public Safety has also let me know that the troopers, that their administration prefers that the troopers utilize this practice instead of engaging in negative interactions with citizens on the side of the road. So with that being said, I'll stand for any questions.
Okay, seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Representative McDonald?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bringing House Bill 1058. This is a codification bill that comes down from the federal government. Every year we have to change the date. My great-grandfather, Chairman Powell, said he carried this bill for 20 years, so I'm kind of glad we're keeping it in the family. But all it does is change it from 2023 to 2024.
Okay, seeing no questions, thank you. Thank you. There are no questions. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you have a question?
I did want to clarify, I'm not his great-grandfather.
All right. Representative Kelly?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I come before you with House Bill 745, about the middle of the first page under modified structure. A piece of legislation that passed unanimously out of the Health and Human Services Committee, aimed at addressing the shortage that we see in our nursing community while also improving patient outcomes and providing more transparency with some of our healthcare facilities, specifically by setting up nurse staffing committees that can make recommendations to our healthcare facilities. They don't have to be followed, just considered, but we feel like that's something that will improve morale and ultimately help drive more nurses into our health care systems. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Okay. All right, seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate the committee's consideration.
Representative?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. A very lengthy bill, but very simple bill. It's the second one from the bottom of the page, House Bill 904 on the first page. Well, 80% of these changes, this was a bill that concerns the plumbing, electrical, HVAC, voltage regulator industries. Many years ago, all of these were put into the same kind of area, but there was no clarification done in updating of grammar or anything that has been done to this area since 1997. So what we've spent the last 2 years going over and checking with these boards is trying to clarify this language and make something better for 2024 and 25 and beyond than we started with in 1997. It does money. Let me talk about money just a minute. The fines have been updated in here from the fines that were on the books since 1980. We've tried to update those fines to 2024, and that's really 80% of this bill is grammar modification. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Okay, seeing none, thank you, Representative. Thank you. Do you have another bill? Otherwise, there are no questions.
Thank you.
Senator?
Good morning, my favorite chairwoman of the House, almost, at least for this morning. How are y'all? Senate Bill 203, middle of page 3 on the back. Basically, first section creates opportunities for veterans who want to become commercial truck drivers. If they are honorably discharged from the military, then they would qualify for HOPE grants under TCSG. And then Section 3 of the bill is basically creating that if a person is issued a commercial driver's license in accordance with federal standards, then qualify to operate a commercial vehicle, and if the driver had not had any driving privileges revoked or canceled, that the employer has conducted a pre-employment investigation in accordance with federal standards, then they would qualify. Just basically bringing some uniformity to requirements, and Chairman Bonner is carrying this bill in the House.
Okay, all right, no questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care.
Representative?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have House Bill 793. This bill just takes a speed bump out of the way for social workers getting their master's degree. All it does is enables them to take their their test in their last semester of school to get their master's degree, so that way when they graduate, they can hit the ground running.
Okay, all right. Seeing no questions, thank you.
Thank you.
Senator?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I bring before you Senate Bill 353. It's in the middle of the third page. This is GDOT department bill, largely full of various pieces of cleanup language. The House and Senate passed 95% of this bill last year. We did change something in the Senate that caused it to get vetoed. We have negotiated that and have a version of this bill that all parties are happy with.
Okay, all right. No questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam, you're up.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, members. I bring to you today Senate Bill 76. It is on page 3. This bill passed unanimously out of the Senate last year. Basically, this is a bill that caps insulin costs for state employees. The cost for the program is very low. 1 year would just cost the state $306,000 to cover approximately 2,400 members. The program would benefit our state workers at a relatively low cost. There's no downside to this, with no possible gain from denying state employees a critical benefit to their health care. And even if the price goes up from our drug companies, our state employees can be assured that the price of their insulin will not go up. And I ask for your favorable consideration. Any questions?
Okay. Seeing no questions, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, there's a couple of members who have bills, if you would. Okay, Representative Stevens.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the first page, House Bill 843 simply allows Underground Atlanta to continue to be designated as a special entertainment district as they are today. They're being purchased by a private entity. And I have another.
No questions.
And House Bill 1041 allows the Georgia Trade and Convention Center to extend their bonding capacity and also allow for condemnation, as other authorities have, on public property.
Okay, any questions from the committee? Secretary Jaspers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just real quickly on the 1041, does this open a new ground? Do we let any other authority condemn property?
Yes. Many of the other authorities, I'll use Stone Mountain, the World Congress Center. I had a list of them in my brain, but and that's public property, so not private property. So it would be like, for example, the Chatham County, which originally was given money by the state, deeded to the county, and now they can go back and, since this is a state property, go back and condemn this property, if you will, and take it over, since it was originally purchased by the state anyway.
Okay, so it's only state-owned or municipal authority
Correct.
land, not private property?
No private property.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you've got a couple more questions. Chairwoman Cooper? Or do you have a bill to present? Okay. See, raise your hand if you have a bill to present. Oh, I'm sorry. If you have a question? Okay, sorry. Getting confused here. Yep, you're recognized for your question.
Chairman Stevens, just, I think I know the answer, but just articulate for the committee. On lines 105 through 109, where you're going up to 8 times more bonding capacity, that there's no place where they can obligate the taxpayers to those bonds. Those are revenue bonds.
That's exactly right.
We're not, I guess, can you just assure us that we're not putting the state taxpayer on the hook for that?
We are not. In fact, it'll do the exact opposite. This is going to prevent the Trade Center, just as the World Congress Center, from coming back to us and asking us for money.
Okay, all right. No further questions of Chairman? Okay, all right. Chairman Cooper?
Thank you, Madam Chair. On page 2, the second from the bottom is House Bill 1072. This states it's the Health Drug Repository Program that is really the not-for-profit pharmacy, goodpill.org. That's a mail-order pharmacy that we established the program, how it would start in 2017. It gives out reclaimed medications that are still good to our most needy citizens across our state, mail order only. They have grown so much, they needed some extra help, and basically it's just updating some of the things that they needed, but the main thing was it gives them 2 more pharmacy techs to help them. I do want everybody to know, since the 17, they have fulfilled almost 800,000 prescriptions for our citizens, which would be equivalent to $64 million worth of prescriptions if they were filled in a regular pharmacy, and they go out at about $6 for a 90-day supply to needy Georgians across our state.
Okay, all right. Any questions for Chairman? Seeing none, Chairman Hawkins.
Madam Chairman, this is House Bill 946 on the structured rule, the one in the middle. Years and years ago, this body passed a single county SPLOST. Within that legislation, there's a requirement of 100% participation. This is the only SPLOST that we have that requires 100% participation, and unfortunately has led to some being held hostage on other issues. This bill reduces that to over 50%. All entities will still share in the SPLOST. Any entity that municipality does not agree with the SPLOST will still be sharing in the SPLOST. This is something I've worked on since beginning of the summer. ACCG and GMA both agree, and as does the Georgia Chamber of Commerce. If all agree, there will be a 6-year SPLOST rather than a 5.
Okay, any questions? All right, seeing none, thank you. Oh. Representative Jaspers.
Thank you, Madam. I'd like to ask for House Bill 546 on the front page. The Pharmacy Practice Act. It is an adaptation bill. It really helps pharmacists and mostly consumers go into a pharmacy and they may not have the drug prescribed but have something similar. In the example we gave us, they needed a 500 milligram tablet, getting 8. It would allow the pharmacy to use a 250, then give them 16, of course. They have to have permission, or there's no restriction from the physician to stop that. They can do it. They have to notify on the patient's record. It also allows for the adaptation to move to a 90-day maintenance drug if it's so needed.
Okay, any questions? Seeing none, thank you. All right, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to recommit some bills back to committee. House Bill 585, going back to governmental affairs. Is there a move?
Move.
There's a move in several seconds. All those in favor of moving House Bill 585 back to governmental affairs, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It's moved back. House Bill 907 for motor vehicles, going back to committee. Is there a move?
Move.
There's a move in several seconds. All those in favor of sending House Bill 907 back to committee, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It's gone. House Bill 927 from Game, Fish, and Parks, moving that back to committee. Is there a motion?
Move.
There's a move in several seconds. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It's gone. House Bill 1173 from Game, Fish, and Parks. All those in favor, I'm sorry, there's a move to move Game, Fish, and Parks back to committee. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's several seconds. All those in favor of moving House Bill 1173 back to Game, Fish, and Parks, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Okay, so it's all gone. So just to recap, that was House Bill 585, House Bill 907, House Bill 927, and House Bill 1173. Those have all been recommitted back to the committees from whence they came. The first calendar we're going to set today is a supplemental calendar for today, February 15th, 2024, under modified structured House Bill 947. It was previously presented before the committee and therefore can be chosen. Is there a move to put House Bill 947 on the floor? There's several moves in a second. All those in favor of moving House Bill 947 onto the floor today in a supplemental calendar, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Okay, it's on for a modified structure. I will now recognize our majority leader for a motion regarding debate.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that pursuant to Rule 33.3, that debate be limited on all bills to 1 hour as divvied up at the discretion of the Speaker.
Okay, there's a move to limit debate pursuant to Rule 33.3. All those in favor of limiting debate, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign? No. Okay, all those who are yes, please signify by raising your hand. All those opposed, please signify by raising your hand. All right, we have limited debate on House Bill 947. Now we're on to the rules calendar for Friday, February 16th, 2024. Under modified structured, House Bill 546. Is there a move? There's a move in several seconds. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. House Bill 872. All those in favor, please, of moving that to the rules calendar, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed, like sign. House Bill 874. All those in favor of moving this, there's a move, and is there a second? Second. There's a move and a second. All those in favor of House Bill 874 being placed on the rules calendar, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? It's on. House Bill 988. Is there a move to put House Bill 988 on the rules calendar for Friday, February 16th? Move. There's several moves and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. It's on. House Bill 1058. Is there a move to put House Bill 1058 on the modified structured rule on the rules calendar for Friday, February 16th? Move. There's several moves and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. It's on. Senate Bill 353. There is a, to put that on the rules calendar for tomorrow, February 16th. Is there a move? Move. There's several moves in a second. All those in favor of putting Senate Bill 353 on the calendar for tomorrow, February 16th, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. It's on. And now we'll now recognize the Majority Leader for a motion regarding debate.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move pursuant to Rule 33.3 that all bills on tomorrow's calendar be limited to 1 hour at the discretion of the Speaker.
Okay, there is a move pursuant to House Rule 33.3 to limit debate to 1 hour, time to be divided at the discretion of the chair. All those in favor of this for all the modified structured rules calendar for Friday, February 16th, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed, like sign. Okay, all the noes, raise your hand. Noes. Noes.
Keep tricking, you're not listening.
Just trying to see who's awake out there, yeah. Okay, so it's all the noes. Okay, all the noes, raise your hand. Okay, there we go. Well, we're getting a fist pump from Al, so that has to count for something. Let's see if we can get some jazz hands from the people who are yes on limiting debate. So all those in favor of limiting debate, please signify by raising your hand. Okay, motion carries. So debate is limited on Friday, February 16th for the rules calendar. Again, that was House Bill 546, House Bill 872, House Bill 874, House Bill 988, House Bill 1058, and Senate Bill 353, and debate has been limited to 1 hour with time to be allocated at the discretion of the chair. That concludes the business before this community this morning, and we are hereby adjourned.